I don't have many goals set in stone yet for 2023, but one of them is to Hey, where you going? Good day friends, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new here. This is episode 10 of the Port Fairy Ferry, my marathon training blog slash journey to hopefully a sub 250 marathon. At least that's the aim. That is what's getting me out for these runs. And we are on week 9 or week 10. I think it's week 9. And we've got about 8 weeks to go until showtime. So just to check in this far into the training block, I have logged some of my biggest weekly miles that I've ever got up to. Last week I ran 128 kilometers, which is my biggest week. And the week before that, which was week 7 of the block, I ran 119. I also ran a 5k PB during that 119 kilometer week. So not sure what that says about my legs performing at their highest ever mileage at that point, but I generally feel fitter than ever, and I'm so incredibly pleased to be this far into the training block, injury free, and even better, completely niggle free. I don't have any issues whatsoever. All I've had, and this has been a big reason I guess for me picking up the camera this time around to record this episode, is just a little bit of a loss of motivation and just a little bit of mental fatigue. But of course this is going to come when you are doing a lengthy marathon training block like I'm doing. It's going to be about 16 weeks, and I've run 3 marathons and trained for, I should say, 3 marathons this year, and of course things are going to be a little tough on the body and a little bit tough on the mind when you know, start to put yourself through the paces. But this is kind of to be expected. But I've really found an opportunity this week to listen to the body a bit more, taking time to do quality things like taking London here for a walk in the sun. Obviously not when it's too hot. I think we better get you home now, London, you're panting. Obviously not when it's too hot, as I found with my running, because it's been so hot here, and I've just found it a little bit annoying to wait late in the day to go for my run, and then I'm tired, and then I don't have enough time to do things I want to do. And I just need to realize and remind myself sometimes that this is a luxury, and if I have to miss a run or two, that is okay. My life doesn't depend on it, and this is completely a privilege that I don't deserve. I haven't earned this. This is purely a luxury, and we are incredibly lucky to do this. So if you needed that reminder, you're welcome. Chances are you didn't. But with that being said, 2 more weeks of the training block are done. Week 7 and 8 are in the bag, and that means that we've got a gel to review. And actually this is going to be the last gel to be reviewed in this series. So if you've enjoyed this, leave me a comment down below. If you'd like to see me review more gels, I'd be more than happy to, but if you aren't bothered, that's okay as well. So the last gel that I consumed was actually about 10 days ago now, and that was on my Sunday long run. I think it was 28 kilometers that I ran on a fairly hot day, and I actually took a couple of gels with me on this day because it was really hot, and just stupidly hot, to be honest. So I took a Morton gel in my pockets to have a little bit later on in my run at about the 20k point, but at the 10k point I tried a gel by HUMA. So I was actually really intrigued by the HUMA gel brand, because when I googled vegan gels in Australia, where I am, the first brand that came up with HUMA, and they actually had, like, you know, vegan friendly on the front of their packet, which none of the other gels had. And to me that was a bit of a bonus, because it meant that I didn't have to read through the list of ingredients. And actually I quite like that brands are making it visible and actually quite appealing to everyone. I think it's quite an inclusive thing to make it quite clear that they are vegan friendly and, you know, keen to advertise that kind of message. So the HUMA gel, from what I could find out, is a chia seed based gel. But I've actually found that using chia seeds in my morning porridge and You know, throughout any meal that I can get them in, whether that be a smoothie or a juice. I've really found that chia seeds have really benefited my performance since I've started upping my chia intake. So believe of that what you will. Firsthand, I've had some pretty good chia seed experiences, and with the HUMA gel, I did have expectations, of course. Come on London, let's get you home. I had expectations, and I'm very pleased to say that the HUMA gel on this occasion, I chose blueberries. It delivered. This was a 9 out of 10 gel. It was brilliant. I really just felt like the consistency was perfect. It wasn't too sticky. It was a little bit sticky, but nothing too bad. What I really enjoyed about this gel, and what could make it a 10, what could have done it, was that it tasted so natural, and actually just like a handful of blueberries. I know I said that about the Montana Huckleberry gel from HUMA, but actually this HUMA gel tasted so refreshing, and it just, I don't know if natural is the right word, but it just didn't taste artificial in any way. There was no artificial flavors from what I tasted, and I just felt refreshed. I felt really good after it, and actually I felt like the gel just really calmed my nerves a little bit like the birthday cake gel did from Goo, but with less of a distraction, like, oh my god, what was that I just put in my mouth? This was more of a, oh, that was really quite pleasant. I feel good. I feel ready to complete this run. The only reason that I'm not going to give this gel a 10 out of 10, and that is purely because I'm not sure that this gel alone would sustain you during a marathon effort. Not like Morton would. I know Morton will in my case, because in Melbourne I took on 5 or 6 Morton gels, I'm not sure. But I felt absolutely fantastic all the way to the end, and even finishing the marathon. Of course my legs hurt and my head hurt, that's to be expected. But was I thirsty, or did I really need to eat something? Not really. I had a couple of glasses of Gatorade that they gave out on the finish line, had some water, but generally I felt fine. If I had had this HUMA gel throughout the marathon, would I have felt the same? Not entirely sure, if I'm honest. But for now, I'm getting ready for my run, and part of my pre-run, or should I say faster run tradition, is to get caffeinated, to get hydrated, and to get stretched out. So in my case, I'm drinking some delicious Brazilian coffee from locally sourced Boston bean coffee here in Australia, based in Port Lincoln. If you're in SA, order some beans from these guys. They're bloody brilliant. Not sponsored, just really bloody good coffee beans. And on the hydration front, I need to give a massive shout out once again to BIX. Over the last 2 weeks since BIX sent me through these electrolytes, I just feel like I've been recovering so much better between sessions, and actually I just feel so good out on sessions. I never feel thirsty. A massive thank you to BIX, some of the most delicious tabs in the game. So of course this video, as titled, is really an exciting opportunity for me to analyze my fitness at this level of the training block, this far into quite a gruesome training plan that's really pushed me beyond anything I thought was capable in terms of weekly mileage and intensity and paces. And of course, I do feel fitter. I gotta say, I really do. I feel like I've smashed some of my expectations out of the water. I've managed to PB in every distance this year. And I just feel like my potential is only just beginning to be tapped into. But I will say that with this Mona Fartlek session that I've got coming up in about an hour or so that I'm preparing for, with this being the 3rd time I'm doing this workout on the plan, it's the 3rd time I could potentially improve my time over this plan in like 2 months since I first did this workout. And that's great. Don't get me wrong, I'm really excited to see how I perform, but taking the caveats, I should say, into mind that actually things might not always work out. Maybe I'll have a bad day today, and maybe it won't be as quick as either of the first 2 times I've done this workout. Maybe I'll get out there and just not feel fit enough to run at all. Taking that aside, I really need to appreciate that the thing that I value the most from this training block, from marathon training to begin with, is getting out there in the first place and enjoying it. And as I mentioned at the start of this video, running for me lately has become a little bit of a chore. I've been working a lot, and I've definitely been a little bit stressed getting things ready for Christmas, getting my Christmas shopping done and getting the wrapping done, thinking about gifts that I'm going to get my family abroad. And it's been stressful. And I think, you know, when running, it definitely, it suffers, you know, there's no doubt when other things in your life come into play, but actually it has to, because unless you're a professional runner, and maybe even then, running can't always take the front seat. And I think it's really important to take a moment to consider this when we think about where does running fit in our lives. And for me, of course, this Mona fartlek session gives me an opportunity to analyze my fitness and see where I'm at in terms of my paces and, you know, efficiency as a runner. But I think most of all, just to take the moment today to think, man, I'm lucky to be doing this workout, and whatever happens, I'm just going to enjoy it, because ultimately that's all that matters. And when I write my little write-up to my coach later on, letting him know how everything's going, how I'm feeling, I need to be able to say I enjoyed it, because he's not paying me to go and do that. And really, I'm sure that his expectations, forgive me, Tony, for speaking on your behalf, but I will say that the only way that I could disappoint Tony was to say that I didn't enjoy the session and that I went out and ran and my heart wasn't in it, because I think any coach would be slightly disappointed to hear their athlete say that. So that's where I'm at. I'd love to obviously continue to PB in all of my distances, but I think there is so much positivity and there's so many success stories here on YouTube, but don't feel like you have to get caught up in them, because I personally have definitely wasted time and definitely wasted energy comparing myself to others when that wasn't entirely beneficial to me in moving forward as a runner. And perhaps it didn't actually help my, I guess, let's say, enjoyment of the videos or the Strava posts or Instagram posts that other people have made talking about their running successes / journeys. So I hope there's just a bit of food for thought there for you guys. Woo, that was a session. I'm quite surprised really, because, you know, I labeled this video as a test of my fitness, and definitely it's been one. It's been a checkpoint for this training block, I guess, for me to check in and to, I guess, to put it simply, like summarize, I guess is a good word for it, because coming this far in the block, I know that I've gained fitness, there's no doubt. I've gained experience, I've gained knowledge and confidence, you know, no doubt. But I think more than anything, what I wanted to get from that session was definitely a sense of how far I'm able to push my mind, how far I'm able to dial in essentially paces, and how confident am I in switching through the gears, as I've heard my coach say. And it was a really cool experience today to go out and do that session. And I'll say now, I came away with a better time for that session than I've ever had before. I was able to run slightly further in the allotted time, so it was just wicked, really awesome fartlek session. I'll put those splits on screen now so you guys can see. And yeah, I mean, it was a great test of fitness. I'm so happy to be able to look back at that workout compared to those two previous Mona fartlek sessions I've done. And just looking back, I'm like really obviously proud of myself. Done a lot of work between those sessions, but I realized that actually the biggest takeaway, not just the fitness on paper and the splits and my heart rate and all that, I'm really interested in like how confident I am with my running compared to those previous tests. So I'd like to put forward this idea that if you are going for a PB, if you're going for a time trial or a race, or you're just doing the same session like I've done with the Mona fartlek, maybe just be a bit more open-minded to what might happen in the session that you weren't expecting. For me, in my case, I use my Garmin watch that's programmed with the workout. So the Mona fartlek session, for example, involves about halfway through 4 reps of 30 seconds at a faster interval pace, and the watch will display the, I guess, pace range that I'm aiming for in that moment when the rep starts, and it will beep if I'm going too fast or too slow behind that pace. And all I was doing during that session was each time the watch beeps, I was looking at the target pace window and I was just thinking, all right, that pace. Not thinking too much about it, but just letting the legs go at that pace, what they thought it was. And of course the watch beeped a few times saying I was going a bit too quick, but I was just going off my feel, to be honest, because, you know, if my mind thinks, oh, 340, let's go for it, and it turns out to be a 335 rep, that's great, because actually, like, if I'm feeling easy, feeling I can do it, and it turns out better, I'm not complaining. Obviously not too much. You don't want to be doing a 315 rep if you're aiming for 340 per K, but I'm just really proud of myself with how much confidence I built dialing in those paces, switching through the gears, and that is completely different what happened today as opposed to my first monophylex session, which I'm really pleased that I filmed and put on YouTube. So I'll link that above so you guys can watch that. But that workout in comparison, I was looking at my watch so much. I was really just relying on my watch to understand what pace I was running, what pace I needed to run, even though I knew beforehand what the session entailed. I was just really confused and just like, what? Like I'm running slow, but I feel like I'm running quick, and I just didn't have that trust within that actually, no, I'm doing the right thing, don't care what the watch says in real time, because of course it's not always going to be 100% accurate. I need to be able to have confidence that I am going to the pace, or at least the effort that I know is required for this pace. So to come away feeling, actually, I'm really proud of the splits that I ran, because not only was I switching through those gears nicely, I mean, this pace graph, I'm so happy, just completely shows the different gears that I'm switching through. You know, correlating with my heart rate data from that session, thanks to the Polar H10 that I'm wearing, is just like, I'm so happy with that. It's just a nice elevation, controlled, doesn't really go above 180, and that to me is just a solid threshold effort. Really pleased with how that's all looking fitness wise. It's just perfect, and I'm so happy, you know, with every takeaway from that. And as I said before the session, focusing on enjoying that hardship, the process of warming up, the process of being out there struggling, because it is, let's face it, you know, going out and doing a hard session like that, you are putting yourself in a bit of adversity, and it's going to be hard. You know, you can't shy away from that. But I loved it, and I really enjoyed it, and I did the whole thing with a smile on my face. And you know, I would love to say that I feel confident in that I'm going to be able to keep up this discipline and enjoy my sessions, remind myself to enjoy them. But just the nature of these things, it's like having a meditation practice there. It's almost important sometimes to fail and to forget these important rules and important lessons that you know, I guess kind of govern this sense of showing up and accountability. So I don't have many goals set in stone yet for 2023, but one of them is to enjoy every single run that I go out on. Man, if I can do that, then there's nothing better really that I can do, I guess, with this whole running thing, because I'm loving it. And this marathon training block is the thing that keeps on giving back. Honestly, I'm loving every second of it. And some days are hard. I definitely didn't feel that enthusiastic about today's run when I left work a few hours ago, covered in mud and feeling honestly quite physically tired. I wasn't expecting to finish that session running a kilometre under 3 minutes. It's quite bizarre really that yeah, that last 15-second rep was like a 250 something, crazy. Super happy with that. But aside from the numbers, just yeah, very bloody pleased to be where I am and to be able to do this. If you've been for a run today, make sure to give yourself a pat on the back, and don't forget to have some gratitude for where you are, because man, we are bloody lucky. Best is love, test the gov. See you guys soon.